morning, and guess what? It's moving day, and we haven't done this in a while. It's been about 6 weeks since we've moved. So we've had little extra things to put away because we took extra things out. As you start to stabilize, you put more things out.
Yep. We did do a few little things last night in preparation, like hanging the bikes.
We did. We have a new, and the other bike rack, if you remember, the bike sat in the rack, and the rack kind of got damaged with the movement along the Alcan. You know, many miles of and it ended up bending, and it was sitting way down. So we got a new rack. This one puts the bikes up, but you can see it kind of looks like a mess. And the reason that is because for her bike, we need one of those bars that goes across so you can hang it properly. I'm not willing to pay retail for that, but there's a person in Anchorage that has 2 for sale on Marketplace, and we're supposed to hook up with them when we get to Anchorage. So I can hang the bikes properly, and they'd be like this, and I'd be able to cover them. The way they are, I can't really cover them. These bikes are so damaged anyway, it got all scratched up from the
It's
move.
Not a long journey we're going on today anyway, so.
Right, it's a short journey, so they're going to be like this for a little while until we can get those bars. But it did make things tight getting through here, so we'll just walk around.
Oh, you don't want to play limbo?
Not really.
Okay.
I just had coffee, yeah, and I enjoy my eggs right where they are.
Moving day is not as bad for us as it is for some people that have big rigs and children and animals.
We've moved a lot of RVs in the past. They're not really in videos because that was before we did videos, but when we owned the campground, we moved RVs too on the side. We moved a lot of fifth wheels. We even moved
Boats.
Large trailers, like the stationary ones. The name of it escapes me, but the park models, and those are heavy. But anyway, this is the utilities here. We're pretty far from the water, so I had to get an extra water hose because of this building. And I don't even think they rent these buildings.
No, not anymore.
But what we're going to do, the dump station is on the other side of the loop here. So as we exit, we're going to dump, and then we'll hook the Jeep up.
Now we have to fill our tank with water.
We're going to fill our tank up because we don't know how long we'll be boondocking. We know we're going to boondock tonight, and it could be another day. And then when we get to the campground, it's first come, first serve down at Joint Base Elmendorf Richardson, fam camp. There's no reservations, so we could get there and not have a spot. So we're going into the 4th of July weekend, so that's very possible. But we'll see what happens. So we'll be ready to boondock. So we're going to fill the tank with water. This coach is very easy. You can do it 2 ways. Because we're already hooked up to water, we can do it right through the connection where it is connected. If you're not hooked up to water, and they do have a fresh potable water fill over there too, but we're not going to use it. We're going to use this one because it's easier, and I'll show you. On the other side of the coach, there's a porthole where you can just fill the water like this, like a normal RV. This one being connected, I'll show you how this works. So we haven't put the slide out in yet, so this coach does kind of require you to crouch until the slide out's in. So the water goes in right here. All I have to do is switch it over from city to dry, and it'll start filling the tank. So now, if I'm hooked up to city water, but I have it in dry mode, it automatically feeds the freshwater tank. I like that. But you have to watch it, and the only meter to know whether or not it's full is inside. So here's our gauges here. It tells you. So we're watching this freshwater side. We know it's low because we don't carry fresh water around unless we need it. This takes a little while, so I won't bore you with it. But this will go all the way up to fresh, all the way up to full. And then we just shut the water off. And then disconnect the hoses. Put them in the wet bay. That was the wet bay I just showed you back there. And then we'll start working on the inside and get these slide outs in. And then we also have the Bigfoot system. Leveling system. We have to retract those, get those up. And I'll show you that in a few minutes. Okay, so the tank is full. Teresa's just yelled at me from the monitoring station and says, okay, it's full. So I turn it off. So go ahead and release the pressure. This is where you get wet. There might not be too much pressure because turn it off.
It's not bad when you're expecting it.
Yeah.
When you're not expecting it, you get a shower.
So I'll disconnect these two hoses. And this is my pressure regulator. And I have an extra shutoff valve here. And this comes in handy because usually this is hooked right up to the spigot. And I can cut it on and off here. Like if we go away for the day, we want to turn it off because if there's a water leak in the coach, you don't want it to fill your coach up with water while you're gone. So that's just a safety precaution. I might have to get some pliers to break this, but I can also do it right here.
Yeah, that's easier.
The last thing we do is take up the electrical cord because we like to leave it plugged in when we're running the slide outs and the Bigfoot levelings because they take a lot of power. So you might as well be plugged into here instead of using your battery, especially if you're going to be boondocking. You want to save your battery.
Gonna need to invest in some knee pads there, buddy.
Yeah. Another thing you can do is you can run the slide outs in first and then do your hoses, and then you don't have to crouch so bad.
But that would not be as fun.
Now I can run this hose right through the door, but then you can't close the door. So there's two holes that you can run them up through the bottom. So because we were here so long, that's the way I did it. This hose is not, these white water hoses, they kind of suck because they're not very flexible. And it's not even cold today, but the colder it is, the worse it is. But you can see how tight this is, and it doesn't really want to coil up. And that's what I hate about these hoses.
Are those Florida hoses? You need the heat.
The blue water hoses are flexible and they're very nice. But they cost a little more. These hoses suck. Now, I've got quick connect compression fittings on here, so I can just click and I don't have to sit there and screw it on. Because when you screw these on and off, on and off, on and off, they tend to round out, and if you start putting pliers on these brass fittings, they start bowing and then they start leaking. So I like the quick connectors.
So one day when we make it to the big time, we're going to have two blue hoses? Is that what you're saying?
This will go away at some point.
Is that lottery money? Yeah, that one coils very nicely in comparison. Look at that.
Yeah, these hoses they're a lot nicer.
One day we're going to be big ballers and have two blue hoses.
And they're bigger. I think this is a 3/4 inch hose and that other one's a 1/2 inch. So, well, it might be a 5/8 inch hose. Still bigger. You get more water flow. But these are nice hoses.
Is that when you know you've made it big time? When you get two of those?
Start using the blue hoses.
Yeah.
Now some of you may be
Or is it when you get e-bikes?
Some of you may be asking me, where's the water filter? The little blue RV water filter that you normally see hanging from the spigot. This coach has a house-size filter built in. So we don't have to have it. It's that white thing back there. There it is. Yeah, you can see the top of it right there. So this has a whole house filter built into the wet bay, and I love that. Takes a standard filter. The standard filters are readily available, and they're cheaper than those blue RV filters, and they last longer. So
I think the day we get some e-bikes is when we've made it to the big time.
Oh yeah, I want some e-bikes so bad.
That might be lottery money too.
Or you sponsors out there, help us out. We'll help you. All right, so you ready to get some slide outs in?
Yeah, we got a bunch of junk to move first.
Oh, okay.
Brett's always like, okay, you ready? I'm like, no, there's things to do first.
So let's go see what the rest of our prep looks like. Here's another thing real quick. We're not quite ready to do it, but I'll show it to you. So this is a whole side slide. In the larger coaches, they're called a super slide, but we'll just say it's a slide. This slide has an awning on it. This awning collects debris, like leaves and pine tags and even water. So if I had a ladder, I would get up there and sweep it off. But since I don't have a ladder, we just kind of let the awning do the work, and it hasn't been raining, so there shouldn't be any water up there. But that water will run down right here and drip down the side of the coach, and sometimes go inside the coach. So we sometimes put a towel there if we know we got water coming off the awning. So this is really just something to pay attention to and watch it. I don't know that there's a fix for it. It's just the way it's made. It's the way a lot of them are made. It's still, having the awning is better than not having the awning, because as the slide goes in, this is going to rotate on the spindle, and a lot of the debris is just going to fall right off the side instead of being stuck on top of the slide and then it goes inside the coach. So this is better, but it doesn't get all of it. And we'll see if Miss Teresa's ready to... This is a screen door to keep the mosquitoes out. Do these landing legs real quick. So you turn the power on. And this is a Bigfoot leveling system. It's just going to do a little check there. And then retracting them is really easy. It's one button, retract all, push and hold, and you can hear it. That's all there is to it. It'll cut itself off when it's done. So outside, the landing legs are coming up off the ground. I'll see if I can show that real quick before it's finished. You can definitely hear the system. And you can see the legs back there. The front ones are already up. There's the back one coming up. You heard it shut off. There's 4 leveling legs, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and it's all done. It's all automatic, so it's very nice. Now when you extend, you do 2 things. You hit the extend mode, and the light comes on. Then you hit start, and you have to hold it for like 2 seconds, and then the light will come on and it'll start doing its thing. But it'll turn itself off. It'll time out, so we don't have to mess with that. I love that leveling system. Now, one thing about all these neat little gee whiz things is if they break, you got to take them in to get fixed. These aren't things you can just fix, you know, out in the bush. So,
Okay.
Are you ready?
Waiting on you.
I am here.
So you got to make sure all your windows are shut.
Yep.
You got to put all these little things inside the sink so they're not flying all over the place.
You can keep the bug dope out. We'll be needing that.
Well, I'll put it somewhere else, not in the sink.
So anything that can fly,
Mostly because I don't want to be eating bug dope.
then you want to secure. Now all the windows on this coach open from the bottom out. So you can leave them open when it rains. They can't rain up. So that's what we're doing now, is making sure all the windows are closed. The exit doors close real easily, and they open further. There's the exit window. These you have to turn a little crank. They're not hard, they're just...
Excuse me, I'm allergic to moving.
It is still smoky here, so I'm glad to get away from the smoke.
Yeah, these past couple of days have been pretty hard.
And so a couple things we do here. Do we ride now with this on the door? Have we been riding with that on the door?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
So you need to come this ways. We need to clear this whole front.
Oh, yeah. Alright, so I'm going to set this down here on the tripod and show you what we do with this curtain. So this curtain is just up here. It goes up and over, and it's actually on Velcro, so it's made for this coach. But what we do is we like to keep that in place and don't rip it and put it back up, and rip it and put it back up. So we roll it up nicely. Get all the creases out of it. And we flip it up here. Tuck it under a box.
So while you're stationary in one spot, you can use that front area to store extra items. And then when you hit the road, you got to shift these extra items
To the back.
to the back to either be on the couch or those recliners while you're driving. And we have a little extra because we bought extra DEF fluid, and we have our weights in
We
here.
brought our weights with us, and they were in the Jeep, but they're pretty heavy. The Jeep's a little heavy. We're trying to get some weight off the Jeep because of the back axle was kind of squatting a little bit. And with these rough roads, you're always hitting bumps. And the tires were rubbing on the fenders, so we needed to get the Jeep sitting up more in the back, so we started moving some of the weight over to the RV instead.
Do you want me to hand you stuff?
Sure. So what we do is we move stuff that's in the front and we move them over to here. But we have these nice little containers, so it makes everything pretty easy. Umbrella. Doesn't rain much here, but it did rain a couple times. So we're just going to be moving some stuff over here. Some of these extra containers we can get in the Jeep because they're not heavy, they're just bulky.
Yep. All the stuff that will stay at the homestead next time, because those collapsible bowls
Are nice, yeah.
are the best. Like, those are a game changer. So I'm so happy for those. Now don't forget we have the couch area.
Yeah. Okay. What?
So for here we have to put this stuff up here because when the sliding comes out, you lose all this floor area.
Yeah.
And again, I think when we have a home base, we can leave more of the things that we found out we really don't need.
Right.
And that'll be super nice. That, I usually throw this in the shower.
So we've had videos with our laundry before with the washing machine. That just stays right there in the shower unit. And it takes really literally 5 seconds to move it out and then take a shower and then put it back. So it rides in there. And we've been doing our wash. We've been doing washing with the machine out here, and we just run the hose over to the shower. That's been working out good. And then if it's a nice day, we'll hang our clothes out, and if it's not, we've hung them up in here before. Just strung a line up across here, and then we have a clothes rack outside. We bring in here and we put a fan on it, and it dries nice.
And then when I get to my next location, I sweep all the floors, because no matter if you sweep it before or after, for some reason during travel, you still end up with more dirt on the floor.
The slide out brings dirt in too, I believe. So.
Yeah, so when you get wherever you gotta sweep again.
Okay.
So the bathroom's all buttoned up, as you can see. You got to put a rod in here so that these doors don't fly. You got to make sure this is all clear.
Yep.
And the stuff that I usually have in other places sits right here, and this rug kind of keeps it at bay while driving. So
everything's move proof.
yes.
Move proof. And then we have to, because we have this hanger on the door now, we have to close the door to get the slide out in, because here's the edge of the slide out and it'll push on this and just...
Yep, so we can go ahead and shut these bathroom lights off and shut that. And again, the great thing about this is while you're driving, when you see how much room the slide out takes, you still have enough room to walk through, use the bathroom, open your fridge, which is nice if you have to make a sandwich, grab a drink.
Yeah.
You have to move all these rugs out of the way.
Yeah, we stack them here by the door
Put
normally.
them up here.
Yeah.
You want them over there?
Either way.
They definitely need a cleaning when we get to where we're going. I'd like to vacuum it all out.
Now here's, when we get to it here, we're getting ready to do the slide out. The slide out requires moving back over to the spider panel, they call it, the spider panel. Here's your slide out option. Before you can extend or retract the slide out, you have to have these two red lights turn green. Means you have to have the ignition on and the parking brake set. I wish there was a way to bypass all that. It's irritating. So now you got to take the keys that has a key fob in it, and you got to get it in close proximity to there's a little hole in the front console. You have to stick the key in. And then you have to make sure the parking brake is set, which it probably is. We're on level ground here anyway, so. And then you have to turn the ignition on, which is a push button start. So for the ignition, you do a push button without your foot on the brake. If you have your foot on the brake, the engine will start. This is our little sunshade, and that folds up.
And before you do all that crazy stuff and disconnect my electric, I need to make a fresh cup of coffee to put up front with moi.
Okay.
So don't be getting too carried away.
All right, we're just going to do the slide out part. Is that okay? Or you want to wait a few minutes?
You could do the slide out part.
Okay. Alright, so we got to get those two lights to turn green. So what that entails is a couple extra steps here.
Do you need me up there while you're back here?
I need you to maybe hold this camera here.
I can bend a little easier to get up there.
So this little fob here has to go inside the front console, which is all the way down here.
Is that your morning yoga?
Your brake has to be on.
Downward
you have to push
dog.
this start button twice.
Downward dog.
It is quite a step down there. It's a good 12-inch step. Come back to the console, touch it to turn it on, and you see both of them are green. Now you can run your slide out. You push and hold retract. And you just kind of watch it, make sure it's coming in evenly, make sure nothing's in the way.
My house is shrinking.
It is shrinking.
Oh no.
And you can hear it kind of go toward the end and then you let go so you don't over torque it.
Honey, I shrunk the house.
Honey, you did shrink the house. And so here's your space.
Yeah, so see, if I had to go to the bathroom while Brett's driving, the only thing, I would need to move this to open the door.
Yeah, you would.
So usually we do have that laid out top here,
Mm-hmm.
but I think since we have such a short trip, I'm not going to worry about it this time.
Right.
And if I need to get into the fridge, I have enough room
Yep.
to do that.
Yep. So the one thing you can't do though is bring down your Murphy bed with the slide out in.
No, so you can't just go park somewhere and take a nap.
So that's really your biggest drawback to a short coach. If you had a longer coach, you would, you would have a bed in the back that you could access with the slide out in. But you only sleep in the bed, right? I mean, it's not a big deal folding up the bed. So I like having a 25-foot coach. It's mobile. It's easy to move around. You know, Therese can drive it. I can drive it. It's like driving a van. It drives really nice, and that's really the best thing about this Mercedes unit is that it drives so nice. So we gotta take up our place, Matt.
Don't forget your rugs.
Don't ever leave without your rugs.
We only have one, so we can take the S off. And there's where the all-important air fryer sits. And it just fits right up in there. We are almost ready.
I'm gonna unplug the electric.
Now that the coffee is all ready to roll,
I'll just go around.
Brett's not playing limbo. I'm going to take you through the limbo course. Whee! Beat ya, beat ya.
You played limbo.
That's right. I was a champion in elementary school.
Okay, so I do have a surge suppressor in the line, and you definitely want that. The coach also has a built-in surge suppressor, so really I don't need this with this coach, but I already had it. So. This one connects in the back. It's just a push and close. There's a light on here that illuminates when you have power. Ooh, the mosquitoes are coming out.
Yes, they are. I'm going to miss this little campground. It's been really nice.
It was very comfortable.
It is definitely smoky out here again today.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's been making my throat hurt and actually making my nose bleed.
Yeah, we're ready to leave, huh?
Ready for new adventures. I do love this area though. I will miss the friends / family we have here. And I love the way everything is slower here. So I'll miss those
you
things.
You can have this whole coach buttoned up and ready to go in about 30 minutes. We probably went a little over that because we have a little extra stuff. Plus we're filming. So that takes extra time.
Yeah, because normally I would have been inside doing all that stuff while he was out here doing that stuff. So it all happens at the same amount of time. And we have it's not packed to the brim, but we got some little bit of stuff in there.
And there's a little room up there, but I try to put the lighter, bulky stuff up there because you don't want to get too much weight going up there.
So we still have to stop off and dump, and we will have to hook this Jeep up.
Yes.
So.
And all the tools for that are right here. Our cables and pliers. You need pliers.
So let's get to it.
So we'll do that on the other side. We're going to go dump first, and you're going to follow me in the Jeep. All right, we started the coach up. First thing it tells me is that my engine oil level is good. And this bottom gauge here is my DEF fluid, and it's good. Plus I got 2 more containers of DEF fluid because we ran into getting low in Canada, so we bought some here so we'd have it going across. So we're just headed over to the dump station. You can see how smoky it is out. That's all from the forest fires. But we'll be going south of that today. Feels good to be driving this thing again. It's been so long. I'm ready to get on the road. It's just a loop that goes through the campground right there. The Chena River's right there, right behind those trees. Those houses are off the base, and we're on the base, so it's right there's the base line is the river. It's a real pretty campground. We enjoyed it. $30 a night, no weekly or monthly rate, $30 a day, straight day. You get water and power, and your dump station's up here. There's the outdoor rec building. You can rent anything you want there. Bicycles, canoes, kayaks, RVs, outdoor grills. They got all kind of stuff. ATVs. Here's our little dump station.
That's your place. I'm Ashley Cook. Ashley, I saw you won an award at your first award show. Congrats, you had the CMT right.
So we've hooked up our sewer pipe here. I spared y'all the details on that little deal. But I got a lot going on in this wet bay with the hoses, but we're just running underneath it all. It doesn't matter. Into the thing. And we always pull our black tank first. Let that run for a little bit. We recently dumped our black tank, so there shouldn't be too much in that. I know the gray is nearly full. So now I'll go ahead and pull the gray. The gray will help flush out the rest of the black. It's back there, right here. Let's lift it up. And let her do her thing. So when we finish this, I'll get it all buttoned back up. And then we have to, oh, you want to hook up over there?
Yeah, that'd be a good way, and then you can just circle through and come out.
Yeah.
Or do you want me to turn the Jeep around? And either way.
You could almost, we could hook it up right here. There's nobody waiting.
If that's what you want, I'll come swing it through.
Yeah. Because we can start now while that's draining.
Okay.
So she's going to pull the Jeep around here, and I think there's plenty of room right here. We're going to go ahead and start hooking this up while that's still draining. There's nobody in line waiting for the dump, so if there was, then we wouldn't do this. We'd pull away from the dump and then go hook it up. But as long as nobody's here, remember how to take this cover off. Just throw the cover in here. Now the hard part about this thing with these bikes here, I have to bring this up, and it's kind of heavy. I have to bring this up, and the bikes are in the way, so I have to get a pair of pliers and pivot this U-joint in a vertical so that this pin moves over to the center and comes out. Then this will come all the way to the front. So let me get that set up first, and then we'll be right back with you. Have one of these pins on each side. Okay, once you do that, you hook up your safety chains. There's one on each side. Hook up your power cable. What this does is provides brakes and lights to the Jeep from the coach. These are required in most states and Canada, of course. This is the emergency brake in case your Jeep would come disconnected from the motorhome for some reason. This will engage the brakes on the Jeep as it rolls off and careens into a tree. Hopefully that don't happen. And the Jeep is all hooked up. I got one more thing you have to do. So this is a manual transmission Jeep. So you are able to flat tow it, which is very nice. You don't need to buy a trailer. A few things you have to do inside here. This is a computer module that regulates the brakes from the coach to the Jeep, and that was an install kit. So down under here there's a little box. See that box? You have to flip that switch to the right. That tells the Jeep to It tells the Jeep to listen to the coach now. It sends signals. And then you get in here and you make sure that your transfer case is in neutral. Here's neutral. So you're good to go. You can flat tow. You got the keys?
No, they're still in it.
Okay, take the keys out so we don't lock them in there. And that's all there is to it. Now we can go back to finishing up our dump and get on the road. We're all hooked up.
So does that new bike rack make it easier?
It does. It's a lot easier to get down under there because I was having a problem bringing this from the resting point, storage point, over to the tow area because you had to lift it up. And the bike racks were so low, I was having to lift them with one hand and move it with the other, but this was very easy. And this is our first time doing it with this bike rack, so
Very good.
it's a win.
Very good.
So this has this is kind of nice. They have a nozzle on here with a shutoff valve. I'm thinking about getting one of these things here because usually they don't have this. This is for cleaning out your black tank, and it hooks nicely to this coach. All you gotta do is right here. Just screw it on. Now this might leak a little bit because, you know, the fittings and all. But all you gotta do now, and you gotta make sure that your black tank is open, or else you're pressurizing the black tank, and it's not designed to take pressure. So make sure your valve's open, which it is, and there's a warning label on there that tells you to do that. And then just turn this on.
Get your flush on.
And get my flush on. And we're flushing the black tank.